forgot the theme song. You ain't nothing but a hound dog. I totally forgot it. Dr. Stone, welcome from Canyon Country Veterinary Hospital on Soledad next to Regal Cinemas and all the other good stuff that's in there. So you can see a movie, drop off the pet. I shouldn't say that. That's not how that works. Can you move your microphone just a little bit closer to you? Also, don't forget that All Creatures Veterinary Center, which is a 24/7 clinic if you need that after-hours care, and located in Newhall. So you're both doing good things. Working both sides of the valley. I like that. Now, of course, Canyon Country Veterinary Hospital is not a 24-hour operation, but you still give good quality care during the day. I had a question. It's really interesting. A friend of mine actually called me this morning because she said, my dog is... I helped her pick out this dog, by the way. She got it a few years ago. She'd never had a dog, so she asked me questions because I'm a dog owner, of course. Now, she said, Jake is like licking everything all over the house, inanimate objects, and it's like he's obsessed, and I try to stop him, and he keeps going back to the wall, the carpet, and different things. Now, she also said that a few years ago, right after she got him, she took him to the vet because he was having what seemed to be seizures, and he had been diagnosed with epilepsy. So they're doing their best to control that with different things. But she didn't know if maybe that is something to do with seizures. Is it something to do with just disease suddenly taking up a new habit, or is there any light you can shed?
How old is he?
He, I believe, is probably now 4-ish, 5-ish years old. So he's still pretty young.
And he's on medication for seizures?
I believe he is.
Okay. It certainly could be a small focal seizure. Seizures in dogs can come kind of in all shapes and forms. They can be a full-on, what we call grand mal seizure, where they fall over and start to shake and paddle, or they could be as small as just a little facial twitch. But it certainly could be a small seizure that he's having if he's continuously licking on things and he never was doing that previously. Sometimes we'll see also dogs licking walls or drywall or dirt or things like that if they're having some sort of deficiency, if they're lacking some sort of mineral or vitamin in their diet. So that's also a possibility too.
That is true about the lack of minerals. You see them eating dirt or picking up rocks, or even worse, eating other things that might freak us out when we see it. But that won't be mentioned on the air. But that's true. So are there other signs, like if you don't know, for example, if you've never, because there are dogs who have epileptic seizures just like humans.
Yeah.
Do you have to wait until they have a seizure to figure that out, or are there little signs that you can tell that you might want to, aside from licking the walls and things like that, that you might want to say, I better get them into the vet to be checked out?
Usually people don't notice until they have a full-on seizure, but sometimes with dogs you can see just changes in behavior, just small behavioral changes that could be the signs of them about to have a seizure or after having a seizure. A lot of people aren't even home during the day and they don't know if maybe their dog had a seizure during the day or not. But sometimes they will have, an accident in the house, which they normally don't do, or things like that. Small little facial twitches, things like that can be signs of seizures too.
Okay. And it's always important just to take them down and have them checked out.
Yeah.
Whenever they do something it's out of the ordinary and it's become almost a pattern, right?
Exactly.
I mean, occasionally dogs do have accidents even when they're fully potty trained and everything like that. That's good to know. So she should, probably the best thing is just to take him down to the vet if he's doing this, to make sure. Because if it is if it's like an iron or some sort of mineral deficiency, is that diagnosed by a blood test, or how do they find out?
There's not really an easy blood test to test for minerals, vitamins, things like that. But once she takes him into his regular veterinarian and kind of describes everything and he does a physical exam, he or she may decide either to try supplementing with some vitamins and minerals and see if that helps, or even retest the level of the medication in the blood to see if maybe he needs an increase of the seizure medication at that point.
Okay, I will let her know. She might even be listening. That would be even better. Time is 8:45. I'm George Cummings. We're here with Dr. Stone from Canyon Country Veterinary Hospital. You work there, but also you're affiliated with All Creatures Veterinary Center located on Lyons. which is a 24/7 operation. We will be back with more right after this. There we go. I feel like it's a regular show now. This is the Ask the Doc segment for our good friends at Canyon Country Veterinary Hospital, and also don't forget All Creatures Veterinary at Canyon Country, Veterinary Hospital, All Creatures Veterinary Center. Canyon Country Veterinary Hospital located in Canyon Country, obviously, on Soledad, next to the Regal Cinemas, and All Creatures Veterinary Center, which is a 24/7 emergency clinic as well, or I should say is a emergency clinic located on Lyons. And to be clear, Canyon Country Veterinary Hospital is not a 24/7 operation, but you do work this side of town, which is good. Dr. Stone, welcome back.
Thank you.
I want to talk about the importance of exercising your pets. And, I touched on this last week where you just kind of mentioned that having a big yard isn't necessarily enough to say, okay, well, I've got a big backyard, and so my dogs are getting enough exercise. And really what I found is that dogs just find more places to sleep in a large backyard, and that it's still important for many reasons to walk them on a regular basis. And why is that?
Walking them is definitely good for their health, of course, making sure that they're not becoming overweight. You have a lot of health issues when they are overweight with their joints, different diseases that can come on from that also. But also just for the fact that they get a little cooped up when they're just left in the backyard, and it's very good training to take them out regularly for walks. It helps with destructive behavior. I know my little Chihuahua gets a little destructive if he doesn't get out on his daily walks, so that definitely helps.
And it's like a structured daily routine that all animals really function better when there is that type of daily routine.
Definitely, yeah. If they get on a routine and they know, okay, this is my time for my walk, and then it does definitely help with behavioral issues and anxiety issues, things like that.
And the bonding. And also maybe the owners of the pets can also get a little bit of exercise too.
Exactly, yeah.
Now, when we talk about too much exercise, and sometimes I know people who like to run with their dogs, or even like what I'll see people on the bicycles and their dogs will run alongside.
Yeah.
How safe is that for the pet, and where should you draw the line as far as that type of a more rigorous exercise should go?
Usually we don't really recommend to jog with your dog until they're over a year old. As they're growing, you can have actually joint issues if you're jogging them too rigorously. But, usually I just tell people to not push their dog. If their dog is okay for jogging and they're ready to go, and, they're not getting tired, or they're not overexerting themselves, then that's fine. I just wouldn't push them. Definitely never when it's, midday, when it's very hot outside, or when the sun's outside, because dogs can definitely get heat exhaustion too.
Right. Bring plenty of water not only for yourself but for your dog, and that's true. And they don't usually show any symptoms until all of a sudden it's too late, right?
Yeah, I mean they'll start showing symptoms, but most people don't pick up on them until it's
And they'll keep going.
Definitely,
right?
yeah. And especially, some dogs will limit themselves, but other dogs, like big goofy labs, they'll just keep going until they're exhausted and they hurt themselves,
Right.
So
I actually did have this is many years ago. I knew someone who was a rigorous jogger up and over Towsley Canyon, which is a very rigorous trail of 6 miles to take her dog with her.
Oh, wow.
And it was a midday thing, and the dog actually did die from heat frustration.
Really
so
sad.
she felt really bad about that, obviously. But those are the things that can happen. And she said the dog was fine, and all of a sudden just stopped.
Yeah.
And so those are the things to keep in mind when you're exercising. And of course, cats are different because some people do walk cats. I've seen it.
Yeah.
But for them, it's mostly just giving them some sort of some way of playing and exercising, usually indoors, right? I mean, because you don't want to necessarily let them go out.
Especially out here, it's not that safe to have outside cats because there are so many coyotes. But indoor cats tend to be a little more lazy and gain a little more weight. We get a little laser light and kind of play with our cats that way, and that kind of gets them up and moving. Yeah.
And they have other little devices that can even move on their own and things like that. And I've also heard even like doing things like hiding food and stuff like that, where it kind of gives them an opportunity. Well, that's good. So exercise your pets regularly so that they don't go too crazy. And also, when you see signs of them not acting really in their normal fashion, it's always a good option. It might be a sign that they need to just maybe go in for a quick checkup.
Yeah,
Else. Maybe
definitely.
a sign of something just like humans. Dr. Stone, always a pleasure. Thank you so much again from Canyon Country Veterinary Hospital, located on Soledad next to Regal Cinemas. And don't forget, for your overnight needs or after hours needs, All Creatures Veterinary Center, located on Lyons, 24/7 clinic. Thank you so much once again. Always a pleasure. Thank you. Time is 8:54. We'll be back with traffic after this.
The powerhouse fire continues to blaze, and 30 homes have been destroyed.
Hello, I'm George Cummings with your SCV News Break.